voices are exotic dancers that enter one by one. Make love to all of your orifices in your seduction. Your seduction.
Hello and welcome to Ear Seduction. I'm your host, Paul Schilling. In this episode, I'm going to conclude Book 1 of this series, The Bible 5.0, by summarizing what we've covered thus far, reiterating the importance of adopting this system for yourself, and answering the big question, why should I care about all this? Over the past few millennia, humanity has written books attempting to answer the most fundamental questions. It's likely that we have always wondered where we came from, how everything began to exist, and exactly what is the vast darkness that looms overhead. More recently, though, we've started to write it down and pass on those writings to our kin. These first attempts at answering the big questions were called metaphysics. They were our best guess at answering the very broad question, what is? Through advancements in thinking, eventually, we started to question our abilities to know what is, and as a result, we started asking a different question. How do we know what is? From that moment on, an explosion of knowledge ensued. Epistemology was born, and humanity got very particular about how exactly we can answer the question of both what is and how do we know what is. Thus, we invented the scientific method to answer those fundamental questions. In the process of answering the question of how do we know what is, we compiled massively elaborate scientific theories to answer the first question, what is? We now know all the answers to all the most basic and fundamental questions ever pondered with great detail. What we've learned is staggering, mind-expanding, life-changing, and beautiful. The scientific answers provide all the aspects we could ever want from an answer, from the very dry and mathematically oriented to the greatest heights of emotion when one learns of the true nature of reality. These last 5 episodes in this series answers them all. Where did everything come from? The Big Bang. How did life begin? Abiogenesis. Who are we and what are we? The theories of evolution, cladistics, genetics, and morphology. How should we live? In accordance with the evidence. How should we think? By utilizing skepticism, epistemicism, and methodological naturalism. What is our pathway to truth? Through sound and valid inductive and deductive reasoning. What is morality? A system we utilize to direct human progress towards thriving and away from suffering. And there is more, much more. Please review this series and engage with its content and messages. You can leave comments, reviews, and you can always email me at earseductionpodcast@gmail.com. Now, why should you care about this series and adopt these answers into your worldview? Why is it so important that we accept the facts detailed in the last 5 episodes? Throughout human history, humanity has been pretty good at identifying problems. Finding problems is simple. Detailing out what's gone wrong takes time, but the information is usually available for those that go looking. What seems to elude us are answers and solutions. So much of the media we consume attempts to educate us on the nature of our problems, but rarely does anyone actually provide us with a sensible, complete, and reasonable solution. Time and time again, decade after decade, we hear the echoes of recycled crises that plague us in every way imaginable. They undermine our economies, cultures, families, and institutions. With every cycle of crises comes a new cycle of speculation, often the same sad, old, and tired rhetoric people have always preached. We need to return to a time of days past, or we need to get rid of certain groups of people. These ideas of how we can solve our problems circle throughout the ether, landing on anyone who might be listening. And most of these ideas are incompatible with one another. They're incompatible with humanity. And ultimately, they're incompatible with a viable and reasonable solution. This rhetoric often lends itself nicely to humanity's tendency to defend itself by creating boundaries and differences between groups of people that need not exist. This is often further exacerbated by indoctrination and tribal notions that generate fear of the other. It doesn't matter so much who the other is, as long as there is an other. As a result of this separation and division, humanity's progress is stifled. The truth is that all this, the tribalism, the indoctrination, the rhetoric, and the stifling of progress, is completely avoidable. The old notion that we need only to defeat our enemies so that our group can reign supreme and then progress is just that, an old notion. The true answer to our problems lies in solving them, not removing those that don't agree with us. People need to be reasoned with. Our enemies need to become our allies. The only way that this can be accomplished is by accepting facts. If we all agree to accept reality, embrace it, and utilize the methodology we've invented to understand reality, then we can cooperate on an unprecedented level. It's not a coincidence that math and science are universal. There is no such thing as Chinese physics, or Jewish mathematics, or black geology. There are just the theories of science. It is our collaborative efforts to further those theories that has been humanity's greatest achievement. If we can all agree that evidence are facts, and that facts accurately describe reality, and that reality is real, then we can all adopt a scientific worldview. Want to cure your racism? Think scientifically. Want to end your sexism? Adopt the theory of evolution, biology, genetics, and sociology. Want to blow your mind? Type in the words methane rain into Google. The science described there will surely do the trick. Scientists are currently looking for a theory of everything, some data set that provides us the most basic facts needed to describe all the phenomena that we have discovered. What if the theory of everything is a theory of morality, consisting of a unified goal that all of humanity agrees upon in order for us to progress forward into a thriving future? This series, The Bible 5.0, looks to definitively resolve this problem. In the next episode, I will introduce Book 2 of this series called The New Testament. In it, we will go over a theory of morality in great detail. Please join me. Thank you, and this has been
Ear Seduction.